So I know I said that my Sea of Stars review is gonna be the next video I release, and I said that now 2 videos ago, but I forgot about the Labor Day video, and this video I just had to make because, well, Trick brought it to my attention. We all know Trick, we love Trick. Great guy. He said, hey, did you know NIS has a big sale going on? And you're kind of the NIS guy, so maybe you should talk about it. And I said, well, I don't know, Trick. I mean, I really got to get the Sea of Stars review out. And he was like, no, you will dance for me. Now get on that computer and make my video. So anyway, I do want to talk about these, but I also have something else to bring up. I hope you guys will avoid this game that I picked up, and that's why I want to talk about it first, and that is Theif Simulator 2023. I understand. I've been burned by the simulator games as much as anyone else. Although the original Theif Simulator, which is usually on sale for like $1.99, that is a really good game and well worth the price. So as I saw some of the assets that they used in this, I thought, well, this is a more updated version of the game. In fact, they use basically the same hideout. They use a lot of the same items, mechanics, everything. So, just looking at it from a distance, it seemed like this would be like a successor to the game. No, not at all. In fact, this game is bad. Not only does it not add to the original Theif Simulator, it takes away from the original Theif Simulator. For instance, you have a limited amount of inventory space, which you have 3 spaces when you start out. And early on, you're gonna need a couple things, a simple lockpick and a flashlight. Well, guess what? Those take up 2 of the inventory spots. So you're basically breaking into a house or a domicile so you can steal 1 item. Well, needless to say, this causes the leveling up system to go incredibly slow. Not to mention, you only have a bike. And guess what? It has 1 inventory slot. So, okay, I guess you can do this whole robbery for 2 items. It's trash. Don't waste your money on it. Anyway, on to the NIS games, because I know that's basically the main attraction. Although, I want to say one thing, just, quickly. Please like, subscribe. We're still moving on. We got to continue to grow, so I just want to throw that out there. I usually don't, because I know that gets really annoying. As I said before, NIS has this big sale going on, and there is a lot of really good games for a really good price. Starting off with arguably one of my favorite games from NIS, and that would be a game called Yurukill. You see, it plays a lot like Danganronpa, which I really like that style, and I want to be more invested in those games, but I just can't. I get kind of bored. And I know that's part of me, but also there's just so much dialogue in a lot of them, which is important, because that's really what these games are about, is trying to find out who's the criminal, who's not. Well, for me, I think Yurukill is a perfect version of these type of games, because yes, there's a lot of dialogue, there's a lot of investigating, but there's also puzzles, and believe it or not, there's also a shooting aspect too. An old school, ship flying shooter type game that is also, it plays a huge part of the game itself. So it really shakes things up, and you don't get just stuck in this world of non-stop dialogue. And if you're like me, sometimes your brain just kind of turns off when there's too many words. Although my mom did drop me on my head when I was a little, multiple times a day, so that probably plays a role as well. But no, seriously though, this game does break things up in a really fun way. And what makes it interesting is that you and 4 other criminals are released, and you're given this ability to go through this game, and if you win the game, you win your freedom. Now, all of you claim that you guys didn't commit these crimes, but you do have a partner who's also going to help you in these games. Well, it turns out that the partner is someone that was directly affected to the crimes that you supposedly committed. So this really does have a lot more depth to it, and you actually have to almost reconcile with some of these people. At the same time, there is a time limit, and the partner knows that they can pretty much just end your life at any point. So this game gets really interesting. It's really good, and right now, it's only $19.99, down from $39.99, and I think it is well worth it. Another game I really like that's on sale right now is Yomawari, Lost in the Dark, and if I said that wrong, I apologize, but that game is $19.99 and it's typically $39.99. This game is like a psychological thriller with some really deep undertones, and I'm not going to give too much away, but it is incredibly scary, honestly. And if you're going to play the game, use your headphones, because that just changes the game up. Now, they also have Yomawari, the Long Night Collection, which I've never played, but it is $14.99 and it's typically $39.99. Have you ever played Ys VIII? If you haven't, then now's a good time to pick it up, because typically this game is $39.99, and right now it's $19.99. It's an action RPG that is incredibly fast-paced and really fun. I enjoyed the heck out of this game. It's one of those games that when you start playing, you think it's going to be pretty small, and then 50 hours later, you're like, oh, there was a lot more to this game than I thought. The fun aspect of this game is that you're shipwrecked, and you start off with only you and your buddy, but as you continue to explore the island and fight enemies, you'll also find a lot of allies. You start building up this fortress, and you're getting ready to build a boat so that you guys can leave this island. You do find out that there is a lot more than meets the eye to this island, and there is a ancient secret that you must figure out before you're able to even leave the island. I have to say that this is one of my favorite games in the genre of action RPGs. It was just so much fun to play. I really enjoyed it. It's well worth that $19.99. Prinny's Exploded and Reloaded bundle is actually on sale, typically $33.99, and right now it is $16.99. I've never played the games, but they actually look really fun and something I'm probably going to pick up, especially for that price. You get 2 games for under $20. You can't really beat that. Although a game that I have played and really enjoyed was The Cruel King and the Great Hero. This is a really charming little story that turns out to be kind of dark, but yet also gives you hope. There's so much to it, but it's basically an old school turn-based RPG. And all the combat mechanics are not to be overlooked, but the story is really what hit home for me. And watching the dragon be so overly protective of this little girl is just something to behold, because as the game goes on, the game sort of has them at odds with each other. I don't know, I can't explain, I don't want to give too much away. Just saying, it's a really good game, especially for $14.99. So you guys know at this point that I love the Legend of Heroes series, a series that I was unable to really get into, and once I did, thoroughly enjoyed them. Well, you can actually get into the first game for 30% off. The Legend of Heroes Trails from Zero is $27.99, and it is typically $39.99. This is an incredibly fun game. It's got that old school turn-based RPG combat that a lot of us really love, yet, man, the story is just so good, and it's incredibly long, honestly. You're gonna definitely get your money's worth in this game. I think for me, and I did grind a little bit, but I think I finished this game at about 70 hours. Like, it took me a long time to play the game, but it was worth every second of it. You can also then pick up Legend of Heroes Trails to Azure, which is the sequel, and it is $29.99, typically $39.99, and this is another great game that just adds on to what you were playing before. It's a perfect sequel that really just builds characters and the world even more. I thoroughly enjoyed this entire series, and so for me, buying both of these would be something I would easily do again, essentially just because, number one, this is a series you don't want to miss out on, and number two, it's a lot of gameplay hours. Like, if you basically want to get a game that is going to keep you busy for the better part of a month or two, and that's if you game every day, then this is definitely one to get into. Now, if you really want to envelop yourself in this series, in this world, you can get Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 3 and 4, as they're also 50% off. Typically, these games are $59.99, and right now they're $29.99. Now, this game has a different cast of characters and tells a different story, although both of these worlds come together and culminate into a huge finale in Legend of Heroes Trails into Reverie. Unfortunately, that game is not on sale right now, but it did just come out a couple months ago, so what do you expect? But if you're looking to spend a little bit less money, then I would suggest going with Poison Control. It is almost like a roguelike shooter. There's a lot to this game, and I've only played a few hours, but what I have played of it, I really like. And most importantly, right now, it is $4.99. It is typically $39.99, so you're getting an 86% discount on a game that is well worth it. Like, I can tell you, graphically, controls, all of that stuff plays really well, really smooth. It's well worth the price at $4.99. Now, another $4.99 game that I think is also worth it is Princess Guide. And this is more of like a dungeon crawler, I believe. Don't quote me on that. It's been a long time since I played the game, like a couple years. But what I do remember is I really enjoyed it. I didn't beat the game because, well, reviews keep coming up, but I did really like it. And again, it's $4.99, down from $39.99. And honestly, I just noticed that it was $4.99, so I added it at the end. Or I would have done some more research into the game. It's $5, and I just wanted to throw it out there. But before we actually leave, I do want to give you one game that I wouldn't get. A game that I would avoid. And it's funny because it's a follow-up to what I said was one of my favorite action RPGs. It's Ys 9. I did not like Ys 9. It just was quite a bit of a letdown, especially after Ys 8. Graphically, the game is kind of just murky and bland, and and not to mention the fact that the story doesn't really make a lot of sense. There's a lot of complexity to the story, but not in a good way, in a very chasing its own tail kind of way. There were a ton of performance issues when the game came out. I do think that they went back and fixed some of them, but ultimately, I just don't think even that would help the game. As for me, the core of the game, the story, the combat, character movement, all of that just felt off. And yes, the game is $29.99, and maybe if I had bought the game at that price, I wouldn't have such sour things to say about it. Honestly, I can't recommend it. I just didn't enjoy it, and I still haven't gone back to see if they've really even fixed it. But anyway, that's my sale list for NIS, and here's the thing, you guys only have probably 3 days to act on those, so you might want to, make sure to do that soon. Anyway, I love every one of you guys, and I swear the next video that comes out will be a Sea of Stars review, and that should be out either tomorrow or Friday. Kind of depends when this video is actually able to go up. Anyway, take care everyone, love y'all, bye bye.